another flagship policy that they announced in the budget was this idea of a mansion tax. So for homes that are worth in excess of £1 million, there's going to be 2 extra council tax bands. Now, Smitty, as a man of the left, I would imagine that the principle of this is music to your ears.
Love it.
But, the more I look at the detail of this, the more it just seems pretty insubstantial. So I think in the current financial year, we've raised about over 3 billion in council tax. This one policy is going to raise between 12 and 16 million pounds, which is a drop in the ocean. And I did a story this morning, COSLA, I got a leaked letter, basically saying that the cost of the revaluation for these 2 bands is going to cost 10 million. So if you subtract the revenue raised from the cost of it, it may only actually raise an extra £2 million in the early years.
Here's an idea. See, when they're doing the revaluation, let's not have 2 extra bands. Let's go right up to Z and have everybody who's got a massively expensive house going right up there. I mean, we've got houses in Scotland that super homes selling for millions and millions of pounds. Let's get these people properly taxed for the cost of the value of their property, and let's have the bands going right up. And if you're going to do a re-evaluation, let's re-evaluate properly right up to the top £5-6 million, look up to Balmoral, right, and make everybody pay more. And by the way, I don't care if it raises 2 pence or £20 billion. It's I like to see these people pay more because they can afford it, and it's a principle. I don't care how much it raises.
I think, though, if we're going to go down that road, it shouldn't be used to fund councils, because ultimately, whether you live in Balmoral or whether you live in a small house in Ballanter, you're using the same council services.
That is a good point.
If we're going to restructure property tax, it should probably go into paying for the child payment.
I agree. I think there has to be a mechanism.
Oh, wait a minute, there's an agreement.
I know this is a first, but I do agree. I think if you're going to properly tax property, doing it locally has problems, because Edinburgh, which is one of the richest cities in Europe,
that as well,
has most of the £1 million plus homes. You'll not get many homes of that sort, maybe in maybe North Lanarkshire, or North Ayrshire. Now, there should be a mechanism whereby the benefit from this tax is spread evenly among all local authorities.
Yeah, but if it's only raising 16 million, you distribute that nationally. It's like peanuts.
I mean, not if you have bands going all the way up.
The other thing is the government, I think I'm right in saying, are still in the middle of a consultation about reforming council tax. And councils,
they're not going to touch it with a barge pole.
I think I saw Glasgow Council wants 14 bands. A lot of the councils want 14. But so it's almost like they're in the middle of a consultation. They've just gone, actually, we'll just put 2 in. So what?
I think this is a process. I'm glad they've understood the principle that if you've got a big, massive house that's worth a fortune, you should pay more for local goods and services. They've recognised that as a fundamental principle. That's the start of this journey. The end of it should be King Charlie paying us £3 million a year.
I still go back to, though, whether you live in a castle or a shoebox, you get the same services from your council.
Don't care. Let the rich pay more.
Okay. I know what you mean, but my view on this is the same as it is for the top rate of tax, income tax, which is now 48%. You're not going to build a socially just society in the backs of a small number of rich people. I mean, genuine redistribution is when you actually take money off folk in the middle, because that's where the cash is. You're not going to raise. I mean, you might not agree with doing, but that's where the money is. You're not going to raise a huge amount of money with a mansion tax or increasing the top rate of income tax, because people will move away.
I think that's true. As a matter of principle, I think people on less than 20 grand a year shouldn't pay any income tax. And I think as a matter of principle, you should put that burden onto the people who earn a decent wage.
But then
it creates a far more equal.
But it's not an equal society, because there's a growing number of people who are doing nothing and just being paid for it.
What, you mean the rich? You mean?
No, I mean the
Or the
people.
folk that have loads of houses that they're renting and all that.
No, I mean, well, they've worked for it.
No, they've inherited it most of the time.
Some have inherited it, but someone's worked for it.
You know,
But
the people who are
to
really out there being lazy,
redistribute it, there's got to be work involved. You can't just go, all right, I'm now
But you know
earning
yourself,
20, 30,
most-
40,000 pounds a year off the state for doing nothing.
most of the wealth in society, most of the wealth isn't actually earned. Most of it's sitting there in big offshore accounts or in big bank accounts or in property, and it's inherited and it's there, and the state can't get any access to it. If we are going to tax income, however, that seems to be the main. We need a wealth tax as well, by the way. But if we're going to tax income, I think there's definitely a case for having poorer people paying less.
See, I disagree totally with what you said there, Paul. I'm not against taxing the mega rich. I think though the middle earners are taxed enough.
No, I suppose what I meant was that if the argument is that you want to raise a lot of resources to pay for social justice policies, you're never going to get the money you want through soaking the rich because there's not that many of them. If you actually want to raise resources, you have to look at the middle. I know you don't want to do that, but just in terms of resources, that's where the cash is.
But the assumption is that you've got to keep raising money to give it to people.
Well, if that's your political perspective,
you don't have to do.
You don't want to, of course, you don't tax the middle classes until the pipsqueak. But things like mansion taxes and private jet taxes, which incidentally I asked Shona Robison about after the budget. She says she doesn't know how much it's going to raise. She just said that she agreed with it in principle. These are policies that are just about wooing the Greens and trying to get their support for the budget. They're not actually going to transform any person's life.